Hey, you guys. Welcome back to another Stars and Cards episode, chat, however you want to call it. I am Keena Marie.
And I'm Mona.
And today, y'all, is what we all have been waiting for. We are going to dive into our first murder mystery review. Now, first, viewer discretion is advised. Okay? So we got some things we want to go ahead and knock out the ballpark before we even start. So y'all know your discretion is advised. This is about a murder mystery, the Haysom murders. This is our spiritual, intuitive, and astrological view, opinions. This is what we think. So don't get up in our comments with y'all shenanigans, okay?
Yes.
You don't agree, you don't believe it, that's okay. Don't get up in the comments with it because we with the shenanigans, okay? This is our spiritual opinion, and we are very skilled at what we do.
Yes.
Okay. So, with that being said, this is our review on the Haysom murders.
Yes.
This is the Haysom murders. Now, we both gonna be looking at our notes and things because this gets real, y'all.
Yes. So it was Elizabeth. Elizabeth is murder suspect number one.
Yes.
And Jens, what was his name? Keena
Jens Suring is suspect number 2.
Yes. And they murdered her parents.
Murdered her parents.
They did murder her parents. Now, this was some shit that took place in 85. So it was a long, long time ago, long before a few of us were born. But they were convicted, they were caught up. There's been a lot of hearsay. There were a lot of lies that were told during the trial, a lot of things that came out. And we kind of want to get down to the bottom of it. Keena and I have looked at their individual charts. We've pulled the synastries. We've looked at the way that the planets were transiting through their charts on the day of the murders, and we want to get straight into it. So the bottom line is, they murdered her parents at the dinner table.
At the dinner table. Y'all, it was so brutal.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Damn near decapitation. This was definitely a crime of passion. And that's so crazy we say crime of passion because it happened during Aries season.
Okay. And not only just, like, it wasn't just Aries season, y'all. Not only was it Aries season, the sun was in Aries, Venus. So the sun, Venus, Mercury, and Lilith were all in Aries at the time of the murders. And so it was a very passionate time. It was a very passionate time. And Elizabeth got her shit off. Unacceptable. Yeah. Totally unwarranted. I know that there were a lot of things. You guys can watch the documentary.
It is on Netflix, y'all. It is so good. When I say I have been so invested in this murder case, I'm already into stuff like this, considering I am a Scorpio, moon in Pluto. So, taboo things seem to be my cup of tea.
Good.
But y'all, it was such a crime of passion. And even when it came down to, first of all, this was in 85.
Yes.
So they didn't have the technology that we have now to properly investigate. But I don't really know what this family's connection was to the police department because the investigation was a sloppy ass mess. They had a lot of things on the crime scene. There was hair. Someone was in the shower. There was blood. There was footprints, and none of that shit really got tested. The murder was brutal. The door was unlocked. The mom was in her pajamas. There was a place setting of 3. So whoever this was, they knew them well enough to where I'm in my nightgown when you come in my house and I don't put on no house coat.
And I think that it's important to note as well that this is a very affluent family. Like, who the fuck? Elizabeth compared herself to Lady Macbeth. And like the family was, yes, they were in America, but very like diplomatic and almost like royalty. They kind of tried to carry themselves as, because I remember that Elizabeth's mom, what the fuck is this lady's name? Nancy.
Nancy.
that Nancy had come from this royal line of
Hmm.
people of European descent, but in the
Hmm.
States, you know? And so this isn't some lady that's just kicking it while company's there, not in a house code or not put together. They just weren't those types of people. They were very much about being seen and being viewed as regal royalty. So yeah. And then too, there were a lot of discrepancies between Jens's account of what took place and why they did what they did,
Hmm.
why he lied about participating and then saying he didn't participate, and between Elizabeth's account of what they did and why they did it. But um allegedly the parents had beef with Jens and they didn't want him with the daughter because like I said, y'all, they were a little hoity-toity, a little uppity.
Hmm.
And they felt that he wasn't good enough. But then at some point it came out that he was supposed to be meeting with the family to have dinner too. So like, I don't know. This is sketchy.
It's real. It's fishy, y'all, because even when it came down to their alibi, there was an extra 400 miles on the car. And even when it came down to their alibi, they were freshmen at Virginia University. And so they rented a car. They drove from Charlottesville to DC, which I really think is not, I think it said it was like 100 and something miles in between. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me. But there was an extra 400 miles on the car. So where did y'all go? And when they started to add it up, it was like going back and forth. Um, they ended up getting caught in the UK under fake names. They had been stealing. They
Check
was trying
fraud.
to
They got
hide,
their shit off.
you know, and they ended up getting caught. And then y'all wrote letters in Shakespeare form. So that's why when Mona said Lady Macbeth, like you got to really be into Shakespeare. Now, Jens admitted to the murder in very strict detail
Yes.
4 times. Four. 3 times he admitted on audio, and once 2 years later, he admitted it on tape. And his reasoning was he was 18. His father worked in politics. They were from Germany. So in Germany, a life sentence was only 10 years. So if I go ahead and say that I did it, then I'm only going to do 10 years because they're going to just send me to Germany. Nah, bruh. You messing with the states. You messing with the states. The murder happened in Virginia. You're messing with the states. Um, and so he gave detail, y'all, detail that aligned with how they were murdered. Now, when the trial began, and Elizabeth straight flipped. Now, I want to tap into her chart for just a little bit, tell you where that flippage come from. But Elizabeth, let me go here. She's an Aries, first and foremost. She's very balanced with her feminine and her masculine. She has heavy earth energy, but she's very mutable. That's where the fake ass energy comes from. Okay. So she's comfortable and secure with flipping from feminine to masculine. You even see it in the documentary. She shows up as this wholesome, innocent girl with her little dress on. And then when she come back, she was looking like a boss bitch. Now she's the youngest of her and her parents, and she's the only child they have together.
Yes.
So she was spoiled the fuck rotten. Now it was other things said with her and her mom and stuff, but
She
that's not what this
lied.
is
She lied,
about.
y'all. Kitty gonna keep it cute. I'ma tell it all. Because
Yeah,
as someone who's a survivor of that type of abuse, I don't take too kindly to motherfuckers lying.
yeah.
One of the ways that like she even roped Jens into whether he participated or didn't, and I did pull a couple cards. Well, after Kina finishes up her chart talk, I was pulling cards when we were talking about Jens and like everything, and I want to talk about why he was the way that he was because he poured so much time and energy into the murder, the alibi, writing the
Mhm.
letters, into the type of fraud they committed, like almost kind of the brains of the operation, but he thought he was real fucking clever, y'all. So, um, damn, what were we just saying about Elizabeth's lying ass? Right. She lied and she told Jens that her mother had been essaying her.
Mhm.
And you'll have to Google what essay means, but she told him that. And there was like a point where she even took him to the home so many weeks or months prior to the murders taking place. And she had shown him these pictures of her naked and told him that the mother took these pictures.
Mhm.
But then when the time came for this to be referenced during trial, she was like a deer in the headlights.
Mhm.
And she said that this assault did not take place and that she had planted the pictures there. Like, she was a liar. So, yeah, continue. She's a fake ass bitch. But yes, go ahead.
Yes, and I'm sorry if some shit like that happened to me. I'm listen. I'm gonna have the same story every time, and it's gonna be in detail. And it was a lot of flipping energy.
Yes, yes.
They went into it together. Him backing her, I did it, I did it, and he said it so many times, and he said it in detail. And then when it came to the trial, now mind you, she was in the States, so
They
she went to
extradited
trial
her
first.
immediately.
Yes, she went to trial first, and while she was on trial, he was not in the States.
So his
And
people were fighting tooth and nail to try
yes,
to get him extradited back to Germany.
yeah, they did not want him in the States. The States ended up folding. They took the death penalty off the table for him, and he was extradited.
Yeah.
But she threw his ass under the bus. Y'all look up Yen Suring, and there's a famous picture of his mouth drop when, listen, it's my favorite picture ever.
Yes.
It's the mouth drop because it was like, bitch, what?
He couldn't believe it.
I'm ta- I'm taking the fall. And this is what you do. And the battle began, y'all. He didn't come to the States. Now, mind you, the murder was committed in 85.
Mhm.
He didn't come to the States till 90. Okay. And they finally took the death penalty off the table. And that's when the real battle began. Now, he admitted that he only said that he did it to save her from having to do the death penalty because he thought he would be able to stay in Germany and just do 5 to 10 years.
And he was
Um,
younger, so he felt like it was fair.
he felt like it was fair. Now, the investigation was horribly done. They missed cigarette butts. They didn't get hotel receipts. They didn't talk to no witnesses. They didn't examine no hair. They didn't get no blood from them. I don't know. They just completely fucking missed a lot of shit. But he gave three false confessions, like four, you know. So Yen's cockiness gets him backed into a corner because, mind you, he's a super smart, top of his class type of dude. And even looking at his chart, he was a Leo. So he wasn't one you wanted to get in a debate with. But his cockiness got his ass and backed in the corner when it came to the trial. He definitely folded, and they went, long story short, before we get into their astrology, they went to trial. They both had no really evidence on them, but they both ended up doing time. He fought for his innocence the entire time. They both got two life sentences. Um, and then they ended up, the states basically, I'm tired of them fighting. We really don't have no evidence. We need to just let these motherfuckers go, basically. In 2015, we had better technology, so they end up testing the evidence. They find the blood on the scene belongs to strangers, and it's nothing between them. The DNA don't match. So now the DNA on the scene, y'all can test, and it don't match neither of them. They ended up in 2019 being released after 30 years. That's 30 years after the death.
Mhm.
Jens continued to write books, do podcasts. Even to this day, he's still saying he innocent, he innocent. Elizabeth fell off the face of the earth.
She should have.
They are banned from the States. So let's get into some astro talk with Mona, about the both of these individuals, because I don't care what nobody say, y'all. They had something to do with it.
Yeah, I want to talk about their synastry charts for
Yeah,
a moment, if you will. I'm lighting the incense, y'all, so give me 1 second.
yeah. And I got one right ready, right behind me.
I want to talk about their synastry charts because Keena and I got to dive really deeply into that. We already talked about the fact that, everybody talks about like their sun signs and I'm a this, I'm a that. Like there's so much more that comes into
Mm.
play with astrology and astrologically, the planets, the timing, where you were born and the time that you were born and things like that daily, by the minute, by the hour, the way that these planets are impacting you changes. And I mean, we got to be fucking for real. Everybody has the ability to control themselves. But when we start talking about two young teenagers, and granted, she was 20, but 20 ain't that far off.
Yeah.
Two young teenagers that are emotionally charged. Elizabeth was on drugs and shit. Chain smoking cigarettes and yins, was young, dumb, chewing bubblegum. He hadn't had too many girlfriends. He was nerdy as a motherfucker. Like, for you to already be emotionally charged and wrapped up, and then the day's energy is giving emotionally charged and wrapped up, some of those things are inevitable.
Now they're both fire signs. Okay, she's an Aries and he's a Leo. Okay, so the fire, the passion is the absolute most. And even the placements of where everything was at the time of the murder. Like Mona said, the sun, Venus, and Mercury and Lilith was in the sign of Aries. So this is heavy aggression when it comes to our desires and our wants and demanding energy, very erotic yet toxic ass energy at the time. The moon was in Cancer. Now, the moon rules Cancer. So that takes emotions out the fucking roof. Pluto and Saturn in the sign of Scorpio. So this is a change and a shift of energy. This is given. She was the head honcho planning shit, and he was like, I'm the smart one. I'm the geek. Nobody can be better than me. I'm gonna take over from here." And there was a shift of responsibilities, but it's kind of like, okay, they were having a dick swinging contest. They
Their
were.
whole everything was a dick swinging contest. Like, I finally did get their synastry charts pulled up to y'all. And like, we keep talking about passion because, like, they say crimes of passion, murders, a crime of passion. When people are murdered this way and when these types of things happen, we know that it was passion, 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 passion. And the way that Elizabeth's Mars in Aries, right? And we talked about how prevalent that Aries energy was, the way that that impacted yins and their connection over and over, it impacted the way that his Mars functioned. It impacted the way that his Venus functioned. It impacted the way that his sun sign functioned. Like, very egotistical.
Yeah.
And I think, truthfully, I guess like you would have to look at it from this perspective to really understand, why would he take the fault? Why would he do this? Why would he participate? It's just the effect that she had on him.
Yeah.
And extremely manipulative. They were
Yeah.
both extremely
I'm
egotistical.
gonna make you do what I want you to do.
Yes, yes. And she is, I'm gonna make you do what I want you to do. And he was, can't nobody make me do what they want to do, but if anyone could, it would be you.
Yeah, he was a heavy water sign, heavy Pisces, heavy Cancer, arrogant, and like he had to be the star of things, but she overpowered him. She overpowered him, and he was the softer one. But then his Leo started to, yeah, no, you not finna little bow wow me. You've been little bow wowing me too long. I'm about to put on my big boy panties, and it became a battle of who's stronger and more. But he don't top her. He don't.
Which, we have to say, Keena, that because Kid and I had talked about when we were going through their synastry charts and things like that together, how if they had been older, the circumstances may have been different. But when you're 19 and you're 20 and you're fucking and feeling excited and you're doing these things that you've never had a chance to do, because both of them had parents that sunk their claws into what their kids were doing. They were gonna go to school, they were gonna get an education. Elizabeth had been to like all these different boarding schools and things of that nature.
We went to school in Atlanta.
Yeah,
Yeah, school in Atlanta.
their parents were not fucking around. And so to encounter one another and be in situation and circumstances where you're able to start thinking like an adult and then you connect with one big ass motherfucker that's big enough to try to overpower you, like
That
when
sounds like my 4-year-old. Like she just takes over everything.
Zen, Zen too, my 4-year-old as well, like it's what they do.
Some
And that's
Aries.
what I'm saying. Like, 4 really is not that far off
Yeah.
from 19.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, 19 is pretty fucking far off from being 30 or
Mm-hmm.
40. If they
Mm-hmm.
had been older and their minds had been more developed, they were a little better, especially poor Yins. He was young and dumb, but he thought he was smart as a motherfucker because he could
Mm-hmm.
read and he could calculate. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they were too young. And looking at their synastry charts, and I don't know if it's because we don't have their exact birth times, but they don't have any key crucial aspects for like mine and my husband's synastry charts. We're meant to create generational shit together. You know, mine and my mom, like we don't have crucial aspects, like no key critical aspects. And so we don't fuck with each other like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but then there are some people where there is purpose in being connected. They didn't
Yeah.
have a fucking purpose.
Mm.
That's like one of those things where you encounter somebody and you just pass on and like pass through.
Yeah.
It's really, really tough. That's
Yeah.
really tough. That's tough. I hate
Yeah.
that for Jens more than I do for Elizabeth. I think that she was already on a fast track to either ending up in prison or being somebody's baby mama or
Mm-hmm.
on the streets on drugs. Like she was already headed down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And Jens was so confident in who he was and what he was doing and how he was going to get it done that he didn't realize that he was being taken down the wrong path either.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you look at the fact that they're Neptune and Jupiter's, they're both in water and it's in a trine and it's supportive for connecting with someone who's kind and tolerant and they
Mm-hmm.
respected each other. Or you
Mm-hmm.
look at the fact that the way that their Jupiter and their Mercury square off, that
Mm-hmm.
it makes it very difficult for them to overcome their communication
Yeah.
difficulties. Well,
Yeah.
well, and even now, like looking at this, it's saying that Elizabeth could play the role of prophet, sage, or soothsayer, responding to all of the questions that Jens raised. When you have that type of power over someone, just with how you communicate, it makes for making fucked up decisions. He
Yeah.
trusted her.
Yeah.
He trusted her,
Yeah.
and she was a piece of shit.
And and it's like she's the beauty and he's the brains. She definitely manipulated him into doing exactly what she wanted him to do. And he felt like, I don't want to do this, but it's only going to be done right if I help.
Yeah, and then too, like I just keep circling back to the fact that she manipulated him so
Yeah.
fucking good.
Yeah.
When all it was, and I'm gonna have to pull some cards. I'm gonna pull some cards, y'all,
Yeah.
because but all it was, even just from what we've seen in their charts, what we know of their characteristics, and what we've learned about the case in general was Elizabeth was mad at her mama and her daddy because they wouldn't let her do whatever the fuck she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
she, even like some things that we learned on the back end was about how around the time of the murders, her mom was trying to right her wrongs of sending her off to boarding school
Yeah.
and trying to keep a closer hold on her. But you don't
Mhm.
wait until your child is in their 20s to
Yeah.
start trying to be a fucking parent. She they had sent her off to all these boarding schools and things of that nature, and I think she was really resentful about a lot of those things. I
Yeah.
think she was. I pulled some cards about yins. We had the Four of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, and then the Page of Pentacles came out in the reverse. I definitely do feel that they clearly had some sort of a plan or some sort of a goal that they were working toward,
Hmm.
and the plan did not go as planned, and so
He flipped
he
on
was
his
having
ass.
yes, he was having to figure things out on his feet, and he was unwilling to like deviate from that. And like back to Keena's point about that shocking photo of him, he never thought he never thought that there was a situation where they wouldn't end up together
Yeah.
and she would end up telling
Yeah.
bits and pieces. She only told what worked for her. But
He didn't think she was gonna flip on him like that.
oh no, he listen, no.
He
But the way
wouldn't
she
have,
played on
he
that,
wouldn't have admitted it 4 times. Shit. 4 times? Like what? Yeah. But he had see Yens, he a smart motherfucker though.
he
Even
was.
after he pled his innocence, which I don't think either one of them is innocent,
Oh, they're not.
but she manipulated him. And he pled his innocence till this day. He does podcasts. He pled his innocence. Now he has an Aquarius moon, okay, and his Aquarius moon is in the ninth house. This is giving telling your story, putting your story out there, no matter what people think, no matter what people say, and having an organization, having a squad behind you. And when I say the support behind Yins and supporting Yins, I told Mona it's giving Charlie Manson type vibes. Like
Yeah,
he had a squad of people behind him that supports him 1000%. And that's because Yins got a good mouth game.
he
You
did.
know, he
And he
was
was
not
very
one.
smart.
Yeah, he was very smart. He's a fucking Leo. You don't want to debate with him at all. And so he used that to his advantage to get people to side with him. Now Elizabeth, she just went hush. She went hush. She did not enter after she served her time. She went hush. She was defeated. She was defeated. Even her chart is very, very aggression. Her Mars is in Aries, her Sagittarius is in Lilith. So she's a free spirit. Like she was bisexual as well. She dated women. She didn't her whole chart gives I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do and I can make you do what I want you to do, and I'm going to make people see that I'm this innocent, whatever type girl. And eventually, when it came down for her to get questioned, her whole energy flipped. And then the baby, Aries is the first of the zodiac. So that baby energy came. Her brother flat out said she needs the death penalty. I was like, oh, when yo,
Motherfuckers know. You be knowing. You know your siblings.
yeah, yeah. She's, and with her having heavy earth sign in her chart too, she's grounded in who the fuck she is. She's secure in who she is. He's heavy water sign. So he was so easy for her to manipulate and to take advantage of. And when he felt like he was taken advantage of, he tapped into that Leo energy. He tapped into that Leo energy. He wasn't he wasn't about it. He wasn't about that life with her. But they are now both free and they are not welcomed in the States. And to this day, they still don't know who murdered her parents.
Look. I pulled a couple cards on Elizabeth. Because I want to know why she murdered her parents. She did
Yeah.
it, y'all. They found all her shit up at the crime scene. And like, even some of the, I don't know. For me, I think I struggle a little bit with some court cases because I
Yeah.
feel there are some situations where the prosecution is not quick to do things or say certain things because they don't feel like it's a strong enough case.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular instance, I feel like even though we know they did it, the things that they used to prove that they did it, it was circumstantial to a point where they should have gotten off or they could have gotten off. I'll say that.
Yeah, they could have.
Um, and then too, if Yins hadn't ran his motherfucking mouth the way that he did, even writing the letters before they left the country to go on the run, he's like, "Hey, coppers, I bet you wish you could get us, and we're 10 steps ahead of you." Like, shut your punk ass up.
They
Pick a
told on
time or are we
themselves
playing a game?
even in their personal letters. They wrote it as like Shakespeare type thing. They were just talking shit, but they tried to tag a footprint to Yins. Well, he was in the damn house. Like he was there, but y'all didn't test the cigarette butts. She smoked cigarettes.
He did not.
It's hair. Like they said, well, her handprints are there. It's because it's her parents' house. Okay. Who no Nobody, first of all, the mom ain't finna be in her jammies. I don't even think if Yens was there, she would be in her jammies comfortably.
I
Like,
agree.
my daughter brings her boyfriend to the house. Am I really gonna just stay in my pajamas? Am I gonna put a robe on? Like, make it make sense. There was no signs of forced entry. All the money was still in their wallets. Like, they were damn near decapitated. That is definitely a crime of passion. I fucking hate you.
Right. Which heavy on the a crime of passion, I fucking hate you. Like I said, even just the cards that I pull really give this element of she was grown and she was not willing to take responsibility for herself and
Mhm.
move on and away from her parents. She was mad at her mama about the fact that she felt like she was being cut off financially. She didn't have the freedom that she needed. Mama didn't hold her the way she wanted her to. She was sad and all the things. And instead of the bitch getting the fuck up and moving on, she was, look, there's the materialism card too. She was really, really bothered, so emotionally charged by what she didn't receive and what she didn't have from her mother
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
she allowed the passion of the motherfucking day to get her fucked up, to have her fucked up. Allegedly, um, in one of the various versions of the story that they told, she owed some money to some drug dealers.
Mhm.
And I almost wonder if, because the addiction card was sitting at the bottom of that deck as
Yeah.
well, I almost wonder if she went asking for money for her drug problem and her
Mhm.
parents didn't respond well and
Mhm.
shit kind of hit the fan from there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's real, y'all. It really is. It gives I'm your youngest. I'm the baby. You're supposed to take care of me.
Yes. And everything about her definitely gave that for sure. For sure. I think that Elizabeth really was not, again, she was the baby. Her
Yeah.
siblings talked about how she was wild. She had always been wild. She was not finna go with what the fuck her parents told her. This is what these cards say. Like, it put a bit of a dampening on her ability to be able to pursue life and be who she wanted and live the way that she wanted to live. And so she was like, let's wrap this shit up. What better way to wrap this shit up than murdering your parents? I mean, getting the fuck on and never speaking to them again is an option.
And y'all
But
would have to see them. This is 85. And she is like rocker girl type vibes. And Yens is a geek.
ain't getting no
Like,
coochie, nerd.
so you ended up with Yans genuinely falling in love with him. Like, no.
Right. On
She
top of the fact that I didn't really understand where the appeal came, because not only was Yin's fucking nerdy and all the weird things that she wrote these letters, like, again, very Shakespearean, very much in
Mhm,
love, very
mhm,
much like, oh, my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mhm,
laying it
mhm,
on thick.
mhm.
He said the first time he saw her, he thought she was dirty. He
But
thought
she
she was
knew.
dirty. Like,
She said he's smart as fuck and he gonna help me do this. He's super smart. So why not tell this geeky boy that's like, oh my God, this young, beautiful, and vibrant girl just wants me. Aries people, that's one of their traits is the physical attraction, you know? And so
we say that.
he's looking like, oh my God, like she wants me, she wants me. And then, oh, well, my mom does this to me and she does that to me. Oh,
Look at
really?
the pictures.
Oh, let's go fuck this motherfucker up.
And
It
not
was so
only
out of
just
his element.
not only just that, like, it wasn't just my mama touched me and she still does it. It was my mama touched me and she still does it, and they don't love me and they don't like you and they gonna try to keep us apart and they don't feel like you're good enough for me. Like, she really, when we start talking about gaslighting, you want to know what narcissistic gaslighting looks like? Heavy on the relationship between Yins and Elizabeth. And like I said, if these motherfuckers had just been a few years older, had more sense, if Yins had had
Mhm,
some, like a fucking fighting chance to really experience life.
mhm.
Because, yeah, you've traveled the world with your dad, your parents are foreign diplomats, you've gone these places and learned these things, but what the
Mhm.
fuck do you know about the streets?
Yeah.
Elizabeth didn't have
She
no
knew.
business knowing about the streets either, but she got her ass out in the streets and figured it out. Like,
Mhm.
he didn't stand a chance. He didn't stand a chance, and she lied every fucking step of the way to everyone. Even when she was on trial, she lied. And then when it came time for her to participate in his trial, the bitch came and lied again. Just lied.
In a whole new outfit.
Brand new haircut. Like, yes, and Keena was absolutely correct. She wore all whites. I mean, she's coming in cloaked up. Yes, Your Honor. Like, girl, shut the fuck up.
And
Everything about Elizabeth, and if y'all haven't seen Till Murder Do We Part,
oh,
please do go watch it on
it's
Netflix and come
so
back
good.
to the comment section and just let's talk about it, because
Yes. It's,
yeah,
she planned the funeral. She planned the funeral. You gotta be a real fucked up individual
she was.
to
She
do that.
really was. She
Yeah.
really was like that. Really, really was like that.
But you guys definitely let us know if you watched it, what you think, your opinions. Like we said, don't get up in the comments with y'all shenanigans. This was our intuitive and experienced opinion about what we believe. Do we believe that they both have something to do with it? Yes.
Absolutely.
Do we think Jens was completely taking advantage of? Absolutely. He got little Bow Wow. She got him to do exactly what she wanted him to do, just for them both to do time. They both ended up getting out the same time and having to leave the states. So this was our take on Till Murder Do Us Part, the Haysom murders. And we do send our love to the families of those families,
Oh,
because
of
it
course.
sucks. It sucks that 30 plus years later, no one knows who actually did it. It's sad. But let us know what y'all think of the review. And we might do some other little reviews too. Make
Yes.
sure you follow Stars and Cards, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok. Y'all, I've been waiting to do this for a long time. Yeah.
That's what we got, y'all. Love you. Bye.